Aiyuk right, they motion McCaffrey, backwards pass to McCaffrey, and he's going to throw downfield wide open. Brandon Aiyuk, touchdown! San Francisco! He can run, he can catch,
getting on fire!
Christian McCaffrey can throw! Schultz to the other, going to throw out left, intercepted! Diamador Lenore!
Whoa,
Dak
what a
Prescott
play!
just threw him the ball on the outcut going left to CeeDee Lamb. Diamador Lenore comes up with the game's first big play. Here's Prescott back, has time, throws out left, intercepted. Ball got tipped up and taken by Fred Warner. Jimmy Ward tipped the ball, and Fred Warner with the INT. They're going to give it to McCaffrey coming left. McCaffrey, touchdown! San Francisco! He has thrown one, he has caught one, he has run one.
What's good, everybody? The Nitty Gritty Niners crew is here. It is overreacting time. The Kansas City Chiefs defeated the San Francisco 49ers 28-18. That's right. The Niners got another loss. They cannot beat the Kansas City Chiefs. They just can't. What did you see out there, Peachy, on the football field? Like, what'd you see?
I gotta start off by doing this. I would like to give a shout out to Nick Sorensen and this 49er defense, because I feel like that this defense came to play. I thought that the young players on this defense, I thought they also came to play. I was really impressed with what I saw with those guys. I think it's unfair for them to be scrutinized because every time you look up, the defense is out there. And I know they rotate, blah, 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 whatever. But at the same time, that defense should not have been out there as much as it was. This offense was putrid. The play calling was also putrid. It was... I know that this was just a regular season game, meant nothing. It's an AFC opponent. And let me tell you, though, like Kyle Shanahan said in his presser, there's no way around it. We got our bleeps kicked today. So it may not have meant anything to some of the fans, but it meant a lot to the 49ers. This is literally like I don't feel good at all. David and Goliath. This is almost like that. Except for the 49ers are not David yet. Because the Chiefs in the Kyle Shanahan era are Goliath. And the 49ers are not David. The magic just is not there, regardless of what happens. And I also want to say, even though I think the refs missed a few calls, I was happy to see the refs not miss a lot of calls. I felt like that Kansas City got their share of calls. I was very happy to see that out there as well. There was, of course, a lot of holding. There was a lot of defensive players that were held. Bosa was held, of course. We know he's going to be held, and everything like that. But as far as out there, it was really crazy because I was just about to give the special teams like a huge kudos round of applause. And then they do something crazy. But, it's the 49ers and that's how it goes. I hate that we've lost Brandon Aiyuk. I do fear that it's for the year, which is basically what Kyle said. It's an ACL. So we already know what that means. We already know that we won't see him again till next year. I feel like that this is why it's so important and why I always say this, and everybody always makes fun of me when I say this and stuff whenever I say that. Kyle, his thing that he has about young players, not installing confidence. I'm sorry, I did say it right. Instilling confidence in these young players is why when you need your young players to step up, especially on offense, why they cannot to the ability that they need to. See, Andy Reid and his coaching staff, they believe in their young players. And you see that they give their young players all kinds of chances to practice, to come in and everything. And Kyle just won't do that. And it's his stubbornness in him where he will not do that. It's like you get these talents on your team and you won't play them enough for chemistry so they can, because now you have a major piece of your offense that is going to be gone from this team. And you never know what might happen later. But the thing about it is that you've got to get your quarterback on chemistry with these young players, because that's what you're looking at right now. And I'm sure Debo will be back for the Dallas game. I'm sure all that. I'm just saying that you have to get your young players more involved. Maybe during the bye week, maybe, he's already thinking that, realizing that, what they got to do. But the thing is that, man, it just takes him so long to catch on. And it's like, just look around the league at all these young guys out here. They don't just run out the door just knowing all this stuff. Like they practice with these teams, and you just have to be prepared for anything. And that's one thing about this team. We're not prepared for anything. If the first thing doesn't work, that's it. And you have to be prepared to lose players throughout the game. You have to be prepared to adjust. I always say, Kyle just can't make in-game adjustments. I don't understand why. Like, you call him a self-proclaimed genius, and he can't make adjustments. And this is a reaction show, and this is me overreacting. I'm not screaming. I'm not yelling because I can't do that. This migraine is just not. But I'm very upset because I wasn't sure if we would win this game or not. I didn't know he was going to look like that. I didn't know our offense was going to let our defense down so bad like that. That was that one, the one pick that Brock had where he overthrew him. Kyle Shanahan said that it was an overthrow. So for you guys that are trying to blame Bell or, for that, it wasn't Bell. Kyle said it was a simple overthrow. That's all it was. It was a simple overthrow that he made. He made a couple of bad mistakes out there. No, Pat Mahomes didn't look that much better, but he did close it out with the run and found a way to get it done. And that's one thing that I think that this offense is missing is the closing. And whether it's the coach, the execution, whatever it is, it doesn't matter, because you just have to line up and put whoever you have. And if you lose people during the game, you have to figure it out. And it just, to me, our red zone issues, that's one of our worst things that we have right now going on. We have to fix that. If we fix nothing else in the bye week and we are trying to actually go somewhere this season, we got to figure out what's going on in that red zone. We have to. I just wanted to give props again to the defense. Mustafa, the Rocket. I know people are only going to remember the last thing that you do or happens to you. And Pat Mahomes might actually win the scepter this week. Knowing Kyle Brandt, being such a Chiefs fan, I'm sure he will. But Mustafa is really good. He's really good. I thought that Jacob Cowing did a really good job. That catch was awesome because there had been a lot of drops, even by Aiyuk before he went out. That was a bad drop that could have changed the game too. So there was just different things that happened in that game. We got to beat Dallas. Breezy had his bleacher a while ago. that he does right before we always come on after the overreaction or before the overreaction. And I put a comment in there and I said, if we don't beat Dallas, I think the wheels are going to start falling off. So it's important for us to do that. This game was winnable, and I think that's what makes me so upset. If it was a blowout, like if it was a huge blowout and Pat Mahomes just looked like Hall of Famer Pat Mahomes, that'd be one thing, but he did not. Our defense did numbers on him today where he was frustrated really badly. So anyway, that's all I got to say. I'm about out of breath now.
It was just a terrible outing. You could blame play calling, you could blame whatever. I know players couldn't fucking execute though.
Yeah.
I don't care if I call the same play over and over again. If you can't execute that play, what makes you think you're gonna execute a different play? I think execution for me is like the biggest pet peeve because they have the talent and the ability to execute. They have the talent to run the plays, and then you make mistakes. And so, like, mistakes hinder this team. And when you don't have your state-of-the-art weapons and you're still getting these kind of crazy mistakes, you talk about the offensive line, you talk, like, those are critical. Like, critical. Like, the team continues to make mistakes. And I get that penalties are subjective to the officials and things like that. But, man, like, what a stall to a drive when, you know, your first series, you run, because we say we need to run, and we run, and then we get a penalty, and it's long, and then now there's nothing we can really do. There's no play. Remember Juice did that third and long and got almost all the yards back because they weren't expecting Juice. So that was a good play call. It's just there's no play call for 3rd and 18 in the playbook. So it's just like they got to stop I feel like the Niners got to stop putting themselves in unforeseeable predicaments that they can't really dig themselves out of. This game, I don't know if the Niners felt they could win this game because you can't tell me that this team thought they were going to win this game by the way they came out and played. The energy was off. I'm sorry, you're at home. How is your energy off? You're home. You're supposed to be recharged at home. So how is your energy off at home? I can't figure that out. It doesn't make any sense. So everything was off. And the Niners, every time they got an opportunity, they failed. The Niners were 2 for 11 on 3rd downs. Divide that up, and that's 18%. If you're not converting your 3rd downs, that means you're getting off the field. Then let's talk about how ass Brock Purdy was today, because I don't give a what you say about that Kansas City Chiefs defense. You could say their defense is superb all you want. Brock Purdy was ass. He didn't make any good decisions out there on the football field. And because we gave him the ball, good field position, what does he do? Turns it right back over. And I'm sorry you can't give a champion opportunities. You give Brock as many as you want. He hasn't proven he can do anything yet. Patrick Mahomes has proven, hey, I could turn the ball over 5 times and win. I could turn the ball over 6 times and win. I can lead the league tied for first in turnovers and still find ways to win. That's the difference. So, like, yeah, Brock, we can blame the injuries. We could say he didn't have his guys out there. You can say, oh, it's because Kyle Shanahan doesn't play the rookies. I feel like the difference between our team and every other team is, I don't know if you pay attention to what the 49ers do. They were stacked at every position. So it's really hard to crack that rotation when you come in. And so they're not going to, if the wide receiver room is overloaded, some guys just not going to get those reps until they get an opportunity, like an injury, and then they'll be able to get those reps. So we'll see how Ricky Pearsall's going to be. Jacob Cowing did one thing well. He beat man coverage with speed down the field. If that's what it takes, then that's what you got to do. Don't know how any other teams will defend that, but that's the only thing he does well. And I said plenty of times this is why we drafted him, because I watched him beat triple coverage in college and kicking it to another gear. So maybe Kyle will say, hey, we got a guy that's got some speed that can get open downfield. He put a nice move on the defender, even though it was a rookie. You want to put that out there. It was a rookie. It wasn't a veteran guy. It was a rookie, right? And he beat the rookie. But that's the matchup. Brock saw that matchup. That was one of the things he did do well in this game. Overall, though, your best players got to be great every single night. They got to find a way to, even when it looks bad, look good. And Brock just didn't have it. I don't know what was in his head. Brock didn't look good. And you can look at statistics and see it, but you also saw it out there on the football field. So moving forward, Brock's got a lot of growing to do, and he's got to do it quick. That's the game of football. It's the game of life. It's all about moving on from this. And as much as I wanted the Niners to win this game, come on. We're not that we shouldn't even be overreacting to this that bad, because we knew we weren't going to win this game. We hoped and we wanted to, but we all knew that this was a team that we couldn't beat, and it will continue to be a team that we can't beat because of coaches that are able to adjust. Now, let me just correct you on one thing: most geniuses aren't good adjusters. I don't know if you knew that. Would you consider Albert Einstein a genius? Peachy?
Yeah.
Did you know he messed up 18,000 billion times before he got it right? That's not adjustment. That's just keep doing it over and over and over again until it worked. That's Kyle Shanahan. There's some people out there that are great at adjusting, which makes them just different. So like, can you do stuff on the fly? Can you do stuff on that's a different type of, that's not genius. That's being able to just adapt and change real quickly. I prefer those type of people. But I think we're starting to realize that that's not Kyle Shanahan. And if you and I go back to his discography and we go back to the offensive head coordinating job in Atlanta, and he did well the whole season, and then he got to a team in the Super Bowl that adjusted on him, and he didn't know what to do. It was like it came crashing down. There's no way in hell you blow a 28-3 lead. You're up by 25 points. There's no way you allow, and we could blame their defense, but there's no way you allow that. You find a way to counteract. It's like all right, man. I'll give you 14, but I'm gonna respond with 7 at some point to stop your bleeding. And he couldn't do it in that game. And then he couldn't do it with the San Francisco 49ers in the Super Bowl. And then he couldn't do it with the San Francisco 49ers in the Super Bowl again. So maybe Kyle is still a genius. He is just terrible at adjusting, which doesn't not take away his from his genius. He's a good guy, calls up great plays, and when they work, we're like, oh my God, that was amazing. But as far as adjusting, he needs help. He needs help. He needs help. He needs another set of eyes. He needs another set of ears, another set of lips. He needs a whole nother person to help him with coaches going out there making these adjustments. And to me, that's what separates him from some of these other coaches, whether they're great, whether they have Super Bowl rings or not. They just say bump it, and they're going to look at whatever and make the adjustments. For some reason, Kyle Shanahan and adjusting plays is just not that. The first 3 runs were inside. We didn't run to the outside to the second half. That doesn't make any sense. We're an outside zone run team. So why are we waiting to run it outside for a whole first half? It'd be those little things that trickle me down to our head coach to be like, dude, what are you seeing out on the football field? If they're stacking the box, why are you running it inside? You probably get more outside, at least a yard. It's just little stuff like that. Then it comes down, that's one thing. Then it comes down to the players executing. And at the end of the day, they just don't have players that, I don't know. Not everybody's going to be perfect. Everybody's going to have drop passes. Everybody's going to miss. There was a play, Peachy, in this game where Aaron Banks and Eric Saubert missed the block. It was two guys on one guy, and our two guys missed completely the one guy. It was a 2-on-1, and they couldn't block it, which sped up the processing and allowed the pressure on Brock Purdy. I can't remember the result of that play, but they kind of collided.
So crazy.
I never in my life seen Three Stooges football. Mm-hmm. It's like we're a joke.
Yeah, that was.
And then the icing on the cake. I'm sorry, Malik. Fuck your good game. You can't get trucked by a quarterback dog. You just can't.
Because all they're showing.
If you would have won, they still would have showed it, but you would have been like, hey, I got the dub.
All right. God.
It's a lot that this team's got to do, and maybe they can't do some of the stuff you suggested, Peachy, until that bye week. Maybe they can't install with these new pieces, these rookies that weren't up on the depth chart and now they're trying to come in and learn certain things as they speed the game up and process because of the injuries. Brandon Aiyuk gonna miss the rest of the season. I'm not trying to be a negative Nancy.
No, he is. Kyle pretty much already said that.
It looks like an ACL.
Yeah.
It's done. It's a wrap.
Like I said, we'll see him next year. So there's nothing that we can do about that. So I've been saying for the longest, even before this Super Bowl, actually, that Kyle needs an OC. I wish that the ownership would see that because they're the ones that can make that decision on making him get one. And there's a lot of teams in the National Football League that have OCs that are really well. The coach is able to coach the team and to be that second person that you're talking about, Breezy, which is an OC that is, telling Kyle, hey, this is what I want to do. I want to do this. I'm going to do that. I really feel like, honestly, and I think I said this last year, I feel like Kyle's ego is going to
Does Andy Reid have an offensive coordinator?
Yes, he does.
Who's the offensive coordinator for the Chiefs?
I don't remember what his name is.
So let's find out. Because clearly nobody know who that is.
Because
Bieniemy was, and that was years ago. My question, the reason why I'm asking that is because every time you hear Andy Reid's name, he's the play caller. So that's why I'm asking who's there. Hey, Chiefs again, who's your offensive coordinator? I don't remember them replacing Eric Bieniemy, but I know they might have replaced him with somebody.
That's
Matt Nagy.
Matt Nagy.
Yeah. Well, so with Matt Nagy, we don't know what he does. We just know he has that title. Because Andy Reid is the play caller. I think that would be the same thing with Kyle Shanahan. I don't think Kyle Shanahan would let anybody come in here and call plays. We had close to that. Then he became a head coach. It comes down to trust, right? Like him with the guy that he trusts in. And it's a guy is there anybody in our system maybe that he might trust like that?
I don't know. All I know is I think that Kyle's ego is going to prevent the 49ers from ever winning a Super Bowl.
I don't disagree with that, but I'm asking, is there... all right, so what I'm talking about, I'm referring to coach of the Dolphins, Mike McDaniel, right? Mm-hmm. That was the last person that Kyle...
Yeah, the pseudo OC, yeah.
Yeah, he wasn't an OC.
Right.
He was like forgot the title he had, run game specialist.
Some kind of specialist,
he was like a run game specialist or something like that. But we knew he was the creative portion around that red zone.
Behind it, absolutely.
So where's that? And
right,
who could, my question is, but who here does Kyle trust like that? Because he had Mike McDaniel since the time, beginning of the time when they were birthed from the different wombs. Like they were back in the day. Like they came up together. Is what I'm saying. Who would be that's here? You know what I mean? And I agree with you. So I'm just saying, like, Kyle the only way that would work is if it's somebody that Kyle trusts, is what I'm trying to say. So who do we feel in our organization has that connection to Kyle? Because I damn sure don't want that guy calling offensive plays that we got here as an assistant head coach.
Right. I don't know. I don't think he's on here. I'm not exactly sure.
He was a run game specialist. He wasn't the running back coach. Bobby Turner was the running back coach. Mike McDaniel helped create those plays on the offensive line. Remember when Trey Lance, the Deebo Samuel runs?
Yeah.
Remember Trent Williams went out? That's all Mike McDaniel.
Well, maybe the Dolphins will fire McDaniel. And then that way we can get McDaniel back. And then next year we can get
Saleh back. That's what we need. We just need the guys back.
We just need our, the people that were here before back, because this is crazy. Like, I don't know what's up.
So Matt and shout out to Baracus as well. They put out some stuff. Remember in the preseason when Clay was calling the plays and we were like, what the fuck? What if we're still seeing that offense? What if Clay is really calling the plays? What if Kyle Shanahan is allowing Clay to call the plays? That's why there's so much lack of creativity. That's why it looks so vanilla. What's the word that we call it? Predictable. Kyle's never been this predictable. Ever. You can't tell me he regressed and became this predictable.
It is weird. It's really weird. It's just, I don't know.
You get what I'm saying? Like, for Kyle to be this predictable,
just don't look right.
He's never been this predictable.
I don't know.
So what if we're starting to see some stuff from Clay that's being implemented? You know what I mean? I'm not just talking about in this game. I'm talking about in general.
This year.
Like this year has been the most vanilla play calling I've ever seen in my entire life. But I remember now that it goes back to the preseason. Like we were predictable. But remember in the preseason, I didn't know that Clay was calling the plays.
Until they said it, yeah.
Until they said it.
Yeah.
So maybe that's what Kyle is. Maybe Kyle's giving Clay an opportunity or something. But at the end of the day, it falls on the head coach.
No. So, Little 95, four L's ain't the end, though. We just need to go in a run. Okay, I understand that, right? That 4 L's is not the end. And you're absolutely right about that. But there is a lot for just watching this game. It's not just that we lost. It's what we're looking like right now. Because this Kansas City team, I'm sorry, they're not world beaters right now. They don't even look like world beaters right now. We made Mahomes look very mortal for the majority of that game. He did nothing. His rating, his quarterback rating, everything was just as bad as Brock's was out there. So I get what you were saying, but it is about how we look and like what we have going on right now. We have a lot that we need to improve. We need to look in the mirror at ourselves and be like, is this what we want to be? Because one, we have not beaten a good team yet. And that's what people don't understand. We beat the Jets. We know what the Jets look like. The Jets literally had to go out and trade their life to get a wide receiver. So we know what the Jets look like, right? Okay, and then our next win that we had was the Patriots. Whoa, scary Patriots. The one that just got destroyed by Jacksonville today. And they are turning on their head coach already. And Seattle. Oh, yeah. Scary Seattle. Come on. We haven't beaten anyone yet. And then, so today. And we haven't. And there is no guarantee whatsoever. I know what a lot of people are saying already. You know, even saw on Twitter where people say, well, maybe the 49ers were just looking past this Chiefs game because they're AFC, and then they were just looking to the NFC Dallas. Y'all better hope that we beat Dallas. Because right now,
But it won't fucking matter. They're nobody.
Something mentally.
But you just sat here
on
and just said
team.
that we didn't beat nobody. So if
haven't.
we beat Dallas,
That's
it
not
would
what
be. But my point is, it would be nobody, and we'd be back at the conversation would just be a win. Like so the thing is, we just need to find ways to win. It don't matter who we play. It matters how we play and the result at the end of the game. It doesn't matter. You can't say we didn't beat nobody and then now say we got to go out and beat Dallas because we do. But if we beat Dallas, they're nobody. They're another nobody. They're like what's the team we just beat? Seahawks. They're just like the Seahawks. They'll have some good days. They'll have some bad days. They're like the 49ers. They'll have some good games. They'll have some bad games. Maybe they ain't beat nobody neither, which is why they were able to get some wins. So I think the focus needs to just focus on the team you play that week and find a way to win. I don't think there's one team in the NFL that's a world beater now. It's too early. It's early. Like we just watched the Lions beat the undefeated Vikings, and it's to say that the Chiefs aren't world beaters is good, but they're 6-0. They're the only undefeated team in the NFL, and they're finding ways to win every single game, whether the team gives them the win, whether they find a way to win, whether those people in the zebra uniforms help them. At the end of the day, they're the best team in football because their record says so. But you're right, they don't look good, but they're finding ways to win. So the Niners just got to the Niners need to say, we are not the 49ers that we were. It's a new team, and we need to figure out how we're going to come together and find ways to win. That's the only thing that they need to be trying to figure out and focus on, because this piece ain't going to be here no more. This piece is hurt. They lost this piece for the season. We don't know what's going on with him coming back. Christian McCaffrey's still on the IR. They got a lot of figuring things out. You can't sit back and wait. They got to figure out who they got and how to make it work and come up with a game plan designed for the pieces that they have. That's why I don't know if it's going to take that bye week for Kyle to be like, all right, man, like I don't got this piece. I don't got this piece. Cool. I got this piece, though. They don't know about this piece, so I'm going to use this piece. Now they've seen him on film. They know he takes the top off the defense. Talk about Jacob Cowing. How can they utilize Ricky Pearsall a little bit more? Does he take on the Debo role? Does he take on Brandon Aiyuk role? Like, so is Jawan Jennings going to be healthy coming in next week? Because we don't know his status. Kyle said he hopes he should be able to go against the Cowboys. And remember, how ironic is it that the one receiver that can destroy the man coverage on this team had a hip injury out of nowhere, and then you get the Ricky Pearsall back. You know, it's just so weird, the timing on how the things come to fruition with this team. I feel like we're an experiment, and we're experimenting right now. I don't know why, but that's what I feel like the San Francisco 49ers are doing. That's why the comment that whatever they put up there says, you know, we just got to find our stride, get on a wing streak, and then hopefully don't look back. And the only thing is, it's October. So come October, you get through football, you try to find a way to get healthy as you can, and you hit November, and that's when you try to go on that stride, the month of November. But like you said, Peachy, it ain't going to be easy, because who we playing in November? We got some tough teams.
Yep.
So that's on the Niners, though. They made this bed, and now they got to lay in it, and they got to go out there and figure out stuff and ways on how to do it. Mose, what's good, man?
Apologize for my tardiness. I'm on daddy daycare duty. Shout out to Mrs. Mose. Knows she's at a much needed retreat just for some rest and relaxation. So I'm hoping that she's enjoying her time away. I jumped in when I did because you said something that I thought was intriguing. And you talked about Kyle having to figure out what pieces he has and how to use them. I think the only thing that is frustrating for me with that statement and watching this game is the coach on the other sideline had to do the same thing, but he did it in game
Well, I
and
spoke
was
on
able to be
why.
successful
Yeah,
in game.
I spoke on two different types of people. You got your geniuses, and you got people that know how to adjust. And some people are just good at adjusting. Like, if I look at, like, I might not be the most skillful musician. I might not be whatever, but I bet you my show will be better than that skillful musician because I can adjust on the fly compared to that skillful musician that has to read the music, can't do this, whatever. You get what I'm saying? I think Kyle is the reader, notation, play caller. If everything works according to plan, it's going to be great. But let you switch something up that goes against my script, I'm going to start freaking out. And that's what we're getting with Kyle Shanahan. He's not an adjuster. He's not a guy that can adjust on the fly. Have we seen it done before? Yes. But for him to be consistent that way, I just think he's a paper sheet guy, bro. And these plays are going to work because I know they're going to work. And that's the difference between him and some of these other head coaches in the NFL. Mose, not to cut you off, I just think that they're just really good at adjusting on the fly. They say, F this play sheet, we're going to go out there and play football. And sometimes you just got to do that.
Right. But cool. That makes sense. But like, when are we as a collective going to hold him to the fire? Because we sit on these platforms all the time and we hold players to the fire. Mm-hmm. I'll raise my hand as one of those people that was holding Jawan Jennings to the fire. Now, will I say that my criticism made Jawan Jennings become a better receiver? Absolutely not. I'm not going to say that. But I'm using that as an example. I'm using myself. I was highly critical of Jawan Jennings. And I'm sure he was highly critical of himself. And he got in the lab. He did what he needed to do. And now everybody's talking about Jawan Jennings like, yo, he is a necessity. He is a piece of this offense that without him, the same way we talk about CMC, the same way we talk about Debo, Aiyuk, Kittle, without Jawan Jennings, this offense looks different, right? So if we are holding the players to this same flame of you're not producing, you're not performing well, these are the areas you need to step up in. Some of us have that energy for Kyle, but some of us don't. Like, when are we collectively, as a fan base, as people who watch this team, say, Kyle, you winning 10 to 12 games consistently is not enough. You have assembled a team. You wanted control over the roster. You wanted to bring in a GM who would be on the same wavelength as you. If you said that you had a hunch about a player and you felt good about a player, you didn't want a GM that would argue you down. You wanted a GM that would give his opinion, but ultimately ride with what you say. So you assembled a team that most people outside of 49er content creators call the Avengers. Kittle, Debo, Aiyuk, CMC. They call us the Avengers. You've assembled Fred Warner. Now you add Diamador Lenore, Nick Bosa. You've assembled a team that people around the country call the Avengers. And not to say that the Avengers didn't get punched on sometimes, but you shouldn't be getting beat on like this. And a majority of that is you not adjusting. When you saw the run wasn't working, try something else. When Debo went down, when Aiyuk went down, he didn't really start feeding Ricky Pearsall until 3-4 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and the game was already out of hand. It's like you take these guys, but you don't trust them. You don't put them on the field. You don't give them adequate playing time. Then when somebody gets hurt, they have to be on the field. But because you don't have trust in them, you don't go to them. And so that limits the scope of your playbook and what you can do. And then you really become vanilla. And you get stopped. and you don't move the ball and you force your quarterback to be Mr. All World and force throws and make decision against what he's seeing and what the play is giving. There's a few times there was a couple guys wide open that Purdy couldn't hit or didn't look at because he's trying to force things because things aren't materializing in the way that you normally want it to, Kyle, and he normally sees it. But you're not adjusting. You're not making any changes to what you're seeing on the fly. Yet we have a prime example of a coach on the opposite side who did that. Patrick Mahomes had a quarterback rating of 44. Our defense was playing lights out. But still, he found a way to make adjustments, to figure some things out, to get the necessary plays that he needed to move the ball and put themselves in a position to score. And for this team, with the weapons that we have, even with guys being down, Kyle has to find a way. It cannot be all on the players. It cannot be all on the defense that holds the best quarterback in the league to a 44 quarterback rating and forces him to throw 2 interceptions. That can't be all on the players. At some point as a coach, you are supposed to put your players in the best position to win. And time after time this season, and yes, we've seen it in other seasons before. We could lose next week to Dallas and go into our bye week 3 and 5. We've seen it before. So as Breezy has said multiple times, we got a lot of season to go. This season ain't over. We don't have to fire sale everything. But I think what I'm tired of is this same rigmarole of come out the block slow, Kyle not really in a groove, not really trusting anybody yet, forcing stuff to Debo, forcing stuff to CMC, forcing stuff to Aiyuk, forcing stuff to Kittle, and not really adjusting, not putting the guys in the position to win. And then we go on a run. We win 6-7 games in a row. And now Kyle's the greatest coach in the world. We're winning. We can't lose. His offense is amazing. Defense is playing lights out. And he's off the hot seat. But then we get to the Super Bowl. And when you got 60 minutes to call your best plays and put your team in the best position to win, he's consistently coming up short. And these are the breadcrumbs early on in the season that we see in the big game. And so when are we not going to see that anymore? That's my question.
I don't think there's no answer to the question because Kyle's the head coach. And so until Kyle is no longer the head coach, you're not going to get what you and Peachy want. So this is our coach. Will he change? If the team continues to lose, obviously he'll probably make some changes because he should be on that hot seat. But you just said, this is how it goes. We lose these games, look bad, go on a win streak, off the hot seat, blah, 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 blah. Best head coach in football league, get to the Super Bowl, lose the game. Like that obviously is suffice for people above Kyle Shanahan. That's the issue. So we're blaming Kyle when the issue is really over Kyle, because why are they not firing him then? Why is Kyle not being put on the hot seat?
Because the owner doesn't give a crap about winning a Lombardi.
So then this shit ain't got nothing to do with Kyle Shanahan.
Cares about
this junk has to do with the ownership. So if the owner wants to make the change, then the owner needs to make the change. But I don't think the owner gonna listen to us or listen to the people because
Kyle Shanahan pretty much tells the whole freaking organization how that they should run it. Because if they didn't, you're not going to tell me that the Yorks and the DeBartolos haven't seen that he needs to get an offensive coordinator so that he can take some of the load off of what he's got
Peachy,
on him,
that's
so
what
that he can do whatever.
That's what you think.
Well,
That's
right,
you.
it is.
That's you.
It's me. Mm-hmm.
I'm not
That's
saying.
true.
My point is, we don't know what they're saying, and if they did, why he don't have one.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
That's why-
That's why I said he pretty much damn well runs the whole organization. I had one other thing that I wanted to add real quick. I noticed something that was interesting that Kansas City did that really kind of aggravated me whenever we decided who was going to be quarterback 2 and quarterback 3. See what they did with Carson Wentz when they put him out there on that play?
Yeah.
How about shaking it up if we had Josh Dobbs out there instead of on the freaking practice squad, so that he could be out there to shake it up a little bit, especially, losing all the players that we seem to consistently lose. We need to have something else going on there besides
And I think
just having him out there.
That right there is another reason why he don't get put on the hot seat. This dude, I know every team get a lot of injuries, but man, Mo, you talk about having the Avengers, where they at? Hurt? Injured?
It's wild.
We got the baby Avengers right now. Like the X-Mutants or something. Because not one of them Avengers really played in this game. Except for George Kittle. So your running back's missing. Your wide receivers, now they both gone. Like, it's chucking. The setup for this team is crazy. They just got to figure out a way to find to hit a stride and just never look back. I don't think this was the game. I don't think Kyle puts that type of energy into an AFC game.
But see, again,
that doesn't make sense, but I just think that's what it is.
No. It makes a lot of sense, and I think for me, because it makes sense, that's why it's frustrating. Because you hear Tom Brady in the broadcast talk about the Chiefs and Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, and yes, we're gonna continue to compare them. One, because we just played them. Two, because we can't seem to beat them in the Super Bowl. But when he talked about them during the broadcast, what he said was, yeah, Patrick Mahomes now, he's not the quarterback that cares how it gets done.
Exactly.
Right.
He said he's thrown for 50 touchdowns.
He's got MVPs.
He's done that.
He doesn't have to play for
MVPs.
Yes.
He's won Super Bowls. So now I don't care how ugly it looks.
That's
as long as the outcome at the end of the game is a W.
Yeah.
And part of me feels like Kyle cares how it looks. Even if it's an ugly W, he's like, we could have did this, we could have did that. And yeah, even Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes are going to say, yeah, we could have this, we could have did that. But if the outcome is even in mistakes, we persevered, they look at that as a positive because we learned something. We didn't lose anything. We gained information. We gained knowledge about ourselves. We saw ourselves in certain situations and scenarios within a game, and we were able to overcome that by doing A, B, C, or D. And when A, B, C, and D didn't work, we went to E, F, and G. And we continued down that line until we found something that works. You talk about injuries. The Chiefs had injuries too.
Right.
No Rashee Rice. They lost Juju Smith-Schuster. Xavier Worthy got banged up in this game a little bit. He came out for a few plays.
And they also had players that been in the system that got the job done, right? So they have, and if you talk about how the Chiefs, Peachy, use their players, Mose, use their players. Sky Moore was a rookie that they used. He got a catch in this game. You got McCole Harmon kills the 49ers every single time he plays us. Doesn't matter whether he start or don't start. He is a Niner killer. So they got players that are just used to the system. At the end of the day, though, you could say Andy Reid all you want. This game comes down to Patrick Mahomes and finding ways to win. And that's the difference. It ain't Andy Reid. Andy Reid didn't make all these crazy adjustments. No.
He did.
No, he didn't.
He did.
Patrick Mahomes made several plays that were not scripted in this game. It was a 33-yard run, if I'm not mistaken, that really took the life out of the San Francisco 49ers defense. And that's why people be like, damn, defense, you had him on third down, and he runs for 33 yards. So I get it. People don't realize the defense been on the field for 97,000 minutes.
Yeah.
But my point is, Mahomes really, I'm not saying Reed doesn't make adjustments. Mahomes is the X factor to that adjusting happening. The trust that he has with his quarterback is totally different than what Kyle has with Brock Purdy. And I think we're hoping that they get there if Kyle remains here as the coach, or if Brock remains here as the quarterback. But my thing is...
so let me ask you this question then.
Go ahead.
And I'm going to try to do it without cussing. What more does Kyle need to trust Brock Purdy?
We don't... Mose, we can't answer Kyle. Kyle is a different human being, bro. We've been talking about this dude's narcissism for the longest life of since we've been the coach.
Got you. Let me ask you this. If you were the coach.
If I was the coach, go ahead.
Would you trust Brock Purdy right now?
I would trust if you're my quarterback, I'm trusting you.
Okay.
If you make a mistake, I ride with you. I'll take the blame.
So we can agree that the problem is Kyle.
Oh, 100%.
Okay, cool.
But what I said was that Patrick Mahomes goes out there and gets the job done, whereas Brock Purdy.
But Purdy, we've seen we have a large enough
we have, but we're not
know that he can get it.
So
done.
why are we not seeing it now? Against
that lack of trust that Kyle has in
that's what I just said.
Because Kyle don't trust nobody but his
family.
He don't trust nobody else. And I'm not even sure if Kyle even trusts. Like, I don't even know who the hell Kyle trusts. Andy Reid did, or whoever's calling the plays, if they did make an adjustment, when they brought Carson Wentz out there. They were literally made such a huge deal about him being out there because they haven't even seen his ass out there unless Kansas City was up.
I'm trying to figure out why people keep.
Pat Mahomes didn't bring him out there.
I'm not standing up for Kyle Shanahan. I don't get it. All I said was he doesn't trust his team. Period. He doesn't trust the young players. He doesn't trust his quarterback. Is Brock Purdy a young player? Yes. He's not going to fully trust him. I don't know why.
But
that's an issue between him and trust. Not me.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I'm not standing up for him because he doesn't trust the players. At the end of the day, when he calls a play and you go back and watch the film and a player misses the block and we be like, that play call was trash. But then when we go back and watch it, how many times do we see a missed block, a misassignment, and be like, dang, if that play would have just did that, it would have worked. So then on TV, it looked bad. But when we go back and watch it, it comes down to execution. So, at the end of the day, when it comes to Kyle Shanahan, I ain't the one that's going to hire or fire the motherfucker. Neither are you, or anybody out there. We can complain about him till we blue in the face. That's why I said it goes higher up. Because if he's not winning, he should be gone. He should be fired.
He's not going to, because what's going to happen is if we don't make it to the playoffs, there's going to be a built-in excuse. Because ownership,
the only way it should be the excuse. The only way it should be that excuse, Peachy, is if he lost Brock.
And I understand that, but I'm telling you what's going to happen. If we do not make it to the playoffs, it's a built-in excuse. Well, I mean, we can't do anything with him because, I mean, look who he had out there. I mean, he lost all his players, and he got some of his players back later, but he didn't get everybody. And we lost his high-priced wide receiver for the whole entire year. Next year. It's definitely going to be built-in excuses. I can feel it coming. If we do not make it to the playoffs, that is exactly what is going to happen.
Said that at the very beginning of the show. Yep. I said that.
And the frustrating part about it with me is Peachy said when she talked about Carson Wentz, if you're on the Kansas City Chiefs and you make the 53-man roster, Andy Reid is going to find a way to use you if he needs to.
That's the difference between Andy Reid. One more time. I'm going to say it one more time. That's the difference between, I don't know why people are not getting these fucking words that are coming out of my mouth, but that's the difference between Andy Reid and Kyle Shanahan. That's the difference between probably 31 of the other head coaches in the NFL and Kyle Shanahan. That's the difference. I'm not saying coaches aren't narcissistic or whatever. It's levels to that junk. Kyle just might be on the master level of that joint. Like it's weird. We've been talking about it for years.
Yeah.
But we're expecting it to be different. Because it's not. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
It's not, Breezy, and I get that, but it doesn't make it less frustrating.
I didn't say that it's not frustrating, and I didn't say that it's not. That's the reason. That's not the reason that we're losing because of a head coach. When I go back and I think I have to go back to Kyle Shanahan and the loss in the first Super Bowl as an offensive coordinator. I'm trying to figure out what was in his mind when he had a 25-point lead and couldn't find a way to plug the hole, right? Because the Patriots started coming back and they were doing it rapidly. It wasn't like they were just turning the ball over. They just couldn't move the ball offensively. Right. Okay? And how did they get stopped? And that, to me, has been the issue. When he became a head coach, we were just like, we're going to get this great offensive-minded guy, and we were stoked because we were going to, at some point, start winning games. He comes in here, we go on that kind of win streak toward the end of the season. Jimmy Garoppolo looks like he's about to be a savior. It just never got put together the way that we envisioned it by Kyle Shanahan. Then we started learning his behaviors. We started seeing how narcissistic he was becoming. We started seeing the way he calls things and does things and things like that, how he doesn't take accountability, right? Like, we want our coach to take accountability like other coaches, but our coach never did that. So I'm not saying I don't feel like it's ever going to change is what I'm trying to say. And so that's why I'm not even looking for him to take accountability, looking for him to do these things. What I need Kyle Shanahan to do is get all 53 of these players that he has that's ready to go up next game and have them all one accord. That's his role. That's his responsibility. That's his job. That's what he needs to figure out how to do because he doesn't have the same 53 players that he built. The Avengers not here no more. We on the X-Mutants.
That's right.
Some new team shit. Like, we got to figure out a different way how to win with these guys. Mose, Peachy, y'all can't make it to the show. I got some guys filling in. I got to find a way to get through the show. They not y'all, but I got to figure it out. I might got to overcompensate. And I think that's why we get lack of execution from players because they feel like they have to overcompensate, overplay, overdo this, overdo that to kind of like compensate for those that aren't used to being here. So Kyle is going to always be the issue. So let me make this clear to everybody out here watching the show. Kyle will be the issue for the San Francisco 49ers as long as he's the head coach. But when he wins, then we got to celebrate him because when he loses, we definitely feel like he's the issue. There's going to come a point where this team's going to start winning and we can't sit there, because the players executed. That can't be our energy. We got to keep the same energy, and that's all I'm asking for. Kyle's an issue. He's going to always be an issue. I don't know if this is part of his game plan. I don't know shit about Kyle Shanahan. He changes every season, literally, except for his narcissism. It's the only thing that stays consistent. What are we going to get the rest of these games? I don't know. I don't even care. I don't even want to look at the schedule. I just want to beat the Cowboys. And then after the Cowboys, I want to beat that fucking bye. And after the bye, I want to beat the Tampa Bay Bucket. I want to look at every week. Remember last year, Peachy, they had to do that. Fred Warner said that was their motto in the locker room. It's not one game at a time. I can't remember what they called it, but that's how they looked at that season.
I know what I call it. I call it 1-0 every week.
Yes, 1-0 every week. That's what he called it. That's what he said. We just got to figure out a way to go 1-0. And when they had that mindset, when the players had that mindset, those mistakes that were happening on the football field were less. They played with a different energy. Because you know what pissed me off about this game? Other than the play calls or the play designs, I think I was more pissed off about the designs of the plays. Like, what happened to our revert jet sweeps? What
That's
happened
just
to
crazy.
those things? What happened to that? How was Kansas City running our plays
Right.
and beating us with it? That was my issue.
Where's the greens?
No, but the energy,
I always ask that though.
the lack of
Where's the
energy
greens?
from the offense was like, you're at home and you're playing dead.
But let me. Listen,
Early.
I'm
Early.
sorry. I'm sorry. I don't like doing this generally, but I'm going to beat a dead horse today. And that horse is going to be Kyle Shanahan and his play calling. What if the offense didn't have any energy because the game plan coming into this week, they were like, what is this shit?
Possible.
What if going through the week and he's going through the game plan and the players are like, you can call athletes dumb jocks all you want, but there are a lot of smart guys. And if you're making it on an NFL roster and if you're a starter, one, it's because your athletic ability is all otherworldly, but also because you have it up here mentally. You understand the playbook, you understand the play calls, you understand schemes, you're understanding what you're seeing on the film. You can talk back to your coach, let them know what you're seeing, understand what they're trying to do. So these players aren't dumb. And they go through this. They go through offensive installations every single week. And they're understanding what their strengths are, what their weaknesses are. They're understanding what they're seeing on film from the other team and saying, okay, maybe, I can use my abilities and my God-given gifts and what I know about our offense and what I'm able to do. I can attack the defense this way. If I'm George Kittle, I'm saying, okay, these are the linebackers that they have. These are the safeties that they have. I know their strengths and weaknesses, of the plays that we run. I feel like I'll be my strongest if we run these plays or if we do these concepts. And so if they're coming in with a low level of energy, what if part of that, and this is just hypothetical, but what if part of that is during the week, they're seeing the offensive installation and they're like, Kyle, are you watching the same stuff we watching? Like, this is what you want to do against this team? Like,
It could be.
it doesn't make sense. How do you have Isaac Guerrero step up with Mason down last week against the Seahawks and play the way that he did and seal the game the way that he did, earning more snaps, earning more touches? We know Mason not 100%, even though he played and he started in this game. How do you only give Guerrero one carry?
Yeah, that was crazy too. I didn't understand that either.
Just because their defense was stopping Mason. Well, yeah, we're in week 7, Kyle. Spagnuolo and this Chiefs defense have been able to see what JP Mason has done to every single defense up until this week. Of course, they're going to come in with an emphasis to stop him, because if they stop Mason, they can get you out of your play action game and force you to be one-dimensional and pass against that defense that's really good against the pass rush, and they have great man-to-man corners. That's something that we can all see.
I mean, as far as game plan, I'm going out from my research that Kyle had to know that the Chiefs was going to come in and try to stop the run, period. Didn't matter who they were going to use. And that's what the Chiefs do. Like the Chiefs have not given up. I don't think the Chiefs have given up 100 yards to a running. They haven't given up 60 yards to a running back, period. They've been averaging 88 yards per game. They were they had the 5th ranked run defense, I think, in the league at the time before we played them. And now it's even higher. I think for me, my issue is the Chiefs defensively were game planning to take away the run. So it didn't matter. I'm with you. I don't get the carry situation, but I he's a running back. Now I know he's young, but that comes down to what we talked about earlier, trust. Because if Debo was healthy, Debo would have been doing the sidelines. So that would have been Debo trying to stretch the field, the jet sweeps, all that type of stuff. That would have been Debo Samuel's role and responsibility to tire out that front. He doesn't play, basically. And I don't know why he doesn't insert Guerrero in there, but obviously there's things about Guerrero that still needs work and hitting those holes and things like that. Now, the Guerrero did get the carry. He did fumble. Thank God it went out of bounds. But why the one carry? I can't tell you. That was him and Juice, only other carries. I just think Kyle has to simplify his game plan to where it's just fun football. I know it sounds corny, but maybe you're right. Maybe those players aren't coming out with the energy because they're not having fun. And maybe they feel like the installs, the game plan, the situation, whatever. It's just dull, it's boring, it's bland. And Kyle is trying to be methodical and say, trust me, if we keep doing this, statistics will say that they will eventually break down, which we did start to see the Chiefs defense break down. Jordan Mason, second half, was a different monster. They ran a couple of outside zones, back to the inside. He started gashing them up for yards. He had his first explosive play in the second half. So that theory worked, but me personally, and I go back and look at this game, I felt like it started with the energy. If your take is right, that's dope. But I felt like the energy offensively wasn't there. I felt like Peachy talked about this defense being lights out earlier in the show. The defense had the spark. I thought special teams provided a spark early before they kind of stumbled that up, whatever, and they went back to what our special teams is and giving up a 55-yard run, which I thought the kicker was going to, again, get hurt. Anyway, I just feel like this team has to find a way to get back to having fun football. And maybe it's time to just watch these young boys play. The more we watch these veterans get banged up. So maybe these injuries are a gift. Because now Kyle Shanahan has no choice. He can't go sign a bunch of people off the street to play football. He's going to have to rock with who he has now. And so maybe this is a gift and a blessing at the same time. Because now Kyle might not have no other choice but to start instilling trust. And maybe this changes his mindset in the future to where, like, you know what? I drafted these players. I could trust these guys. Maybe.
That's wishful thinking.
It's very wishful thinking.
Very wishful
but who's he going to play, Mose? Brandon Aiyuk's out. You got no choice now.
I get it. I get it. He has no choice. But essentially, you had no choice when you selected your 53-man roster. Or, if you want to look at it from the other end, these guys were your choice. You had the opportunity to take 95 guys
to not play
and dwindle it down to 53.
Yeah, but
you chose these dudes.
He did, Mose, but we talked about the plan. Kyle, they're drafting for the future. Team is stacked. Wide receiver room is overly abundant. Certain rooms are stacked. So when you draft a player, we talked about how the Niners don't draft players for now. They're drafting them for later. We did shows about this. When they go in now and they're not ready because of the lack of reps or whatever, like, that's why. Like, they don't have the experience. And so now Kyle won't use them if he doesn't have to. He's going to rock with the guys that are the vets that know the game, that's been in the game, whatever. But what I'm saying is now his back is against the wall,
right,
and he has no choice because everybody hurt.
That's right. You barely have any vets. You have to, like, these young guys, you, like, especially on offense, you are going to have to get these young guys up to speed and get them, more installed with this offense. Like, you have no choice now.
Like, we were happy doing shows, Peachy, right, about the future and how it looked bright. But the future is now.
That's right.
Like,
that's right.
Now.
The future is now.
It's
that's right.
now, and it has to be now.
Yeah.
It has no my point. Exactly.
And it comes back to what we talked about adjusting. Bro, Kyle, even if you got to have two playbooks.
Yes.
If your dudes is getting hurt and they going down and you got to get these young guys in.
Have the playbooks for the dummies.
If they don't know the Avengers playbook, cool. Have a young guys play, or like you got an Avengers playbook.
Yeah, you're right.
Debo, Aiyuk, Kittle, CMC,
right,
and then you got a baby Avengers playbook,
right,
for the Ronnie Bells,
right.
For
What
Ricky
was that?
Pearsall,
I'm sorry to interrupt you,
for the
but
Isaac Arindos,
right.
One thing, Breezy, what was you just talking about? We were talking about last week or whatever, the week before, how that this offense needs to be more simplified. That
He just said it 5 minutes ago.
It literally needs to be simpler.
Kyle's not a great teacher, and I'm understanding that.
100%.
That, my friends, is
also
the
part
issue.
of the problem.
Yeah.
And we see it every year, and we say it every year. But this man's offense is built around and predicated around
Bo Samuel.
He fell in love with this kid at the Senior Bowl. And when he saw this kid play, he said, I am the offense for this player. And once he got him, his offense is built around and predicated around Deebo Samuel. And whenever Deebo goes down in the first quarter or the second quarter and he cannot finish the game, Kyle glitches.
The plays don't work.
It never fails. If Deebo suits up and he gets through warm-ups and he comes out of the tunnel with the beatbox and him and Trent are in the front, Kyle walks out of that tunnel with his chest puffed out and he feels unstoppable, invincible, untouchable, the greatest coach in the world. As soon as Deebo goes down and he talks to the trainers and they give him that, and Deebo is out for the rest of the game, it's like Kyle glitches. You remember back in the day?
Yep.
When you had the Walkman CD player,
sure enough,
you was on the bus,
and
that bus hit that speed bump,
and
you was right in the middle of the best song on that CD,
and it got
that bus hit the speed bump, and your CD was skip, and you be like, damn, that Kyle is a Walkman that did not have the shock protection, and when Deebo comes out of the game, that's the speed bump that makes him glitch every single time, and he doesn't know how to fight his way out of it.
That's all I've been saying from the jump. That's Kyle not being able to make the adjustment of his player, the wild card piece, not being available. I said to y'all that this team did not come out with energy. You said it could be because of this. Deebo Samuel got sick right before game time, and the moment that happened, the energy shifted because the head coach's energy shifted because he went into panic mode and said, what the fuck am I going to do? I had 6 to 8 plays designed for Deebo to spread the run game out because I know they're going to stack the box. But I know I got Deebo who's tough and can get outside and can get me 2-3 yards, and if he can break one, boom. But I'm tiring out that front. I'm telling you, that is it. And he has to figure out, all right, man, I want to see what the 49ers would be. You know what? If the 49ers traded Deebo, I would love to see what the 49ers would be like, because now Kyle really has to game plan because he just doesn't have that wild card piece that he trusts. When he traded for Christian McCaffrey, oh, man, it unleashed
so much more,
a different layer of the geniusism. But that doesn't mean he still is a good adjuster. Nope. He just has another layer, a level that nobody's going to be able to get to. Because now I got 2 wild card. Oh, PG, we play Uno, draw 4 in the wild card. That's what we got when you got both of them out there on the football field.
Absolutely.
And I'll take any one of them motherfuckers. Depending on y'all rules, I prefer the wild ones, not the draw 4s.
Don't let me have both of them.
You get what I'm saying?
The last 2. I could go either way. I could go out on the draw 4. I could go out on the wild. Don't let me have both of them.
Yeah.
This is funny, but this is a true story, and this is what we're witnessing. Okay, and I want people to be like, yo, listen, we can hate Kyle Shanahan 1,000%. He is he's a problem. I won't say he's the problem, but because he's the head coach, he has to be the one to fix it. He has to be the one to solve it. It's his job to fix it. That's why he's the head coach. Sure. If I was the teacher of a classroom and my classroom behavior was trash, I gotta fix it. I got to figure out who I need to separate, who I need to have conversations with, who I could pair up together, who I could group. I got to do that. That means I got to spend extra time after school.
I knew this was coming. Sorry.
What happened?
No, nothing. I'm fine. It's just a comment. Go ahead, because
But
we haven't even got this one yet.
But that's my point. You have to find a way to apply certain things, and we could blame Kyle, but damn it, how was his dad? Because at this point, I don't know how his dad coached. Was he the same way? Is Kyle like from that? Like, we know he's from that tree, but does he does what his dad used to do? Kyle has to figure out a way to just go out there and play football. Like, and I don't think he going out there letting his players play football because he don't have that simplified playbook. He don't have the Kyle Shanahan playbook for dummies. And I know we don't want to call people dummies because that's not the society we live in today because everybody's extra sensitive. But that was a book. I got a book. I got a guitar book for dummies somewhere around here.
I have about 12 of them around.
But I'm just saying that's a thing. And I think Kyle needs the Cliff Note version so that the young players can grasp a hold of the playbook on the fly. And maybe that's why we're struggling, because on the fly, some of these players just aren't grasping stuff. We could talk about that Ronnie Bell route till we blue in the face. You could say he ran it short. If he did run it short, that was a fucking good-ass short route. I mean, did you see him cut up and the dude got like the dude didn't know what was... So you mean to tell me that the defender knew the route and not Ronnie Bell?
That's...
Kyle said...
No, PG, make that make sense before you tell me what Kyle said. Because everybody went online, except for me, because I didn't want to see. And I knew they were going to come at him. And I was like, yo, well, he ran to the sticks and he would have had a first down. And if Brock would have seen that, it would have been a nice... He might have dropped it. But at the end of the day, he ran the first down route. It just wasn't the deep route. So I don't know if PG said that. Kyle said that was on Brock. Brock said that was on Brock. Brock's going to always take accountability. Kyle's going to always throw blame to the quarterback. So I don't know. All I know is that was a good route. If Brock could have read that route and that progression, he would have had a first down right there. If he would have caught the ball. That's a big if. But you know what I'm trying to say. Yeah. Is it breaking news that he tore the ACL? Is that what it is?
I'm looking so I can make sure that it is, though.
All I'm saying is this.
You said one thing. You said Kyle is a problem. Can we go around the horn and talk about another problem that we're seeing?
Okay, go ahead.
When are we going to get Colton McKivitz off the field?
Oof.
I got to watch this game again, bro. You could tell me what you saw. I just know that
I saw him at the snap getting beat off the line.
Okay.
He does not react well to the first step of whatever end he's playing.
I think the injuries in this season, everything's happening for a reason. And if we're not able to contest this year, I'll probably be the only person cool with that, because now we have the opportunity to really draft the offensive line. And if they don't address the offensive line, let's say the Niners are picking 10 through 18, and they choose not to address the offensive line, then I have to wash my hands. I'll still be a fan, but I just don't know what they're thinking, because if we can just fix a couple of pieces on the offensive line.
We know, but we already know what Kyle's thinking about the O-line.
Center and right tackle.
Which is so frustrating.
We got Trent. Don't know how long he's going to be here. He got the contract extension.
I'm not even trying to fix that right now. I'm not trying to fix that.
Aaron Banks,
he done.
Solid.
But he done.
We found a gem in Dominic Puni.
100%.
A gem.
It's
tackle.
Kudos to Pony today, too,
center.
by the way.
Yeah, Puni held it down. I can't wait to see his matchup.
Hardly ever even heard Chris Jones' name mentioned today.
Matter of fact, heard Chris Jones' name mentioned only when he wasn't on the football field, which was a problem.
Exactly.
Like, how are they getting pressure with him not on the field? That was the issue.
Colton McKivitz is still out there.
I think
beat like a drum.
They got one more year with Spencer Burford, right?
Why not just try him there? He's naturally a tackle. You drafted him out of college as a tackle. He played left and right. And then you move him inside. He's naturally a tackle. He has the physical gifts to play tackle better than he can play guard.
I think
try him on the outside.
It comes down to Chris Ford. So we talk about people that Kyle trusts. There are some people he trusts. He trusts his coaches. So if Chris Forrester gives him the green light, I think what Spencer Burford did was so bad in that Super Bowl that he is the ugly duckling of that offensive line. It's not because of the surgence of Dominic Pooney, but they have tried to get Trent Burford some snaps at the guard position on the other side. You know, when Banks was out, he would fill in there and stuff like that. I think he replaces Banks as a guard. I'm just be honest. I want him to be a tackle, like you said. That's his natural position. But if I was the coach, I'm mad in this shit all up. I would switch him to right tackle. I would put, keep the rest of the offensive line. I would find another center. I would put Ben Barch in at this point. I think somebody else could go in and fuck up less than Jake Brendel. First play of the game.
It's ridiculous.
First series of the game. Niners going to drive, penalty, 10-yard holding play. What happened? Got punt.
It's crazy.
It'd be little stuff like that to where, we could blame Kyle for play calling, but then it comes down to players and making mistakes. Why are they out there on the football field in the first place?
But that would be Kyle, because he's the one that puts their ass out there in the positions that he puts them in. He's also the one who don't give a damn, apparently, about the O-line, as he has stated before, that the offensive line is not one of his biggest concerns and never has been, making sure that he has the skill players. Well, what happens is when you lose a lot of your freaking skill players, then you need to have a really good offensive line.
I think Kyle Shanahan's offensive line philosophy goes back to Jimmy Garoppolo. And so if you remember that type of offense is get the ball out your hand quick. Well, now Brock Purdy is trying to get the ball down the field a lot more, which now you need your offensive line to block a little bit longer. I don't feel like the offensive line struggles with the developed plays. I feel like they actually play well against the developed plays. I thought we started drafting wrong when he drafted Aaron Banks. I didn't think he fit the zone scheme. So what are we going to be? Are we going to be this zone run scheme, outside zone team? Then you need certain types of offensive linemen that fit that scheme. There's a reason why you go after guys that have 10-yard shuttles that are quick, because they need to be able to get down the field 10 yards quicker than you so they can be setting up the blocks. But when you go and draft guys that don't have that fit or fit that mold, it makes it confusing. So then, remember when we drafted Aaron Banks, I'm like, are we switching to power?
I remember when we got him.
But we were trying to change the offense, so we were trying to go inside now. That's not outside. So, Ty, I did not overlook. Somebody put out a comment, and they said that they watched the two offensive linemen miss a block. Let me correct you, because it wasn't two offensive linemen. It was an offensive lineman and a tight end.
Yep.
It was Eric Saubert and Aaron Banks. Now listen, Aaron Banks' assignment was to pull from the left side to get out there to the right side. I don't know how much I'm gonna blame him. That's a big pull, but that was his assignment. But I don't know how Eric Saubert is lined up right there. How you miss it and you right there? Matter of fact, they collided and canceled each other out. That's what happened. That's why that pressure got through. So we look like football follies. Is that still a thing, the football follies?
It was so crazy, Breezy. What makes it worse is we were at home. We weren't even on the road.
You know what the epitome of this game was? Everything that happened in the game. There was one moment in this game that summed up the entire game. Can y'all guess what it was?
Probably the onside.
Thank you, sis. The onside kick was the epitome of this game for us.
How did he miss the kick, Mose?
Bro, that happening summed up, and that one play summed up a 60-minute football game.
That me know
one thing right there.
That
so bad.
First of all, that let me know, because I'm gonna go to bed. My Mets is getting their ass whipped. I'm going to sleep. It's over. Congratulations, Dodgers. First of all, he kicked that ball. He had so much force on that ball that missing it, he forced it to do a 360 spin like they was playing spin the bottle, and it still went 2-3 yards for missing it. I'm like, damn. So that let me know he was gonna mess up the onside kick anyway. anyway. So what's gonna work? You know what I mean? Like anyway.
It was so bad. Let me tell you, it was so wild.
It did sum up the game. It did. And in Niners fashion, they got their asses handed to them by a team that just usually hand their butts to them. I'm not as mad at this loss as I am losing to the Rams and to the Cardinals. I wish we could get those back. But a loss is a loss. And the Niners are going to have to figure out a way to dig deep. Let's just address this last thing, and then we could go. I promise. People are mad at Trent Williams for
what?
I don't know if people saw the whole thing, but Trent
Apparently
got punched
not.
in the head.
Yeah.
And so
Trent was on the ground
and got
on his hands and knees
after
he got slapped in the head by some dude who's like 5'10".
After he got face masked though, so I don't know if you
Yes.
knew that because it was a face mask that
Both.
got him down to
Yeah.
the ground.
Right.
Yep.
And then he got slapped in the head. So Trent, being Trent, got up and punched the
You know
lip.
what?
He hit him hard with the
He
punch
sure
too.
did.
Yeah, he did.
I don't know if I would punch a helmet, but maybe they make helmets different. The helmets I knew growing up were a little harder. Maybe these helmets are like rubber hard or something like that. Pause. Like I don't know, but that junk was crazy to me.
It's like Brady and I don't know who the guy he's with. I forgot his name or whatever. But they were saying, like, I don't know if I would have made that decision to hit
Slap Trent Williams.
to do that. Like, I think I would have picked a different battle. Because I promise you, he was affected by it, even if it wasn't.
I was just talking about something similar with my wife. Like, she always gets hit on when she goes to the supermarket or Target or the mall, and guys come, "You're so beautiful," and I'm like, they don't never say that shit when I'm with you. Like, I'm like, I just want some guy to be bold enough to be like, you know what, miss, you are so beautiful when I'm standing right next to her, and that way I could just punch somebody in their throat real quick and just pick them up.
You can't
and dunk
punch
them on
somebody
their neck.
in their throat.
Why not?
Because they complimenting your wife, bro.
No, don't do that in front of me.
They could there's a way to compliment and there's a way to be. If they're being a little
That's what I'm saying.
disrespectful,
Nah,
they
you want to bring up some OnlyFans.
Yeah, but
and,
they
some
just,
stuff
no.
like that.
If it's a compliment, you know what I'm saying? And then they hit you up like, man, you're a lucky guy, whatever. You know what I'm saying? You should be happy. We're really, like, that means you got great taste, my guy. Like, that's how I look at it. You know what I'm saying? But if they get a little disrespectful with it, if the tone is a little bit more seductive than it should be straight up, it should sound like this. You're beautiful. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they better have zero bass.
Lose all bass.
No bass.
All bass.
All treble.
See, that's how Breezy is with Mrs. Breezy when they go out and stuff and comments come like that and everything like that. Breezy
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
As long as you know what I'm saying? Take it as a compliment, bro. I'm just
like,
But then you a big motherfucker, so they're not gonna say shit. That's the
hell
problem.
no.
Yeah.
So my thing is, why are they mad at Trent Williams because he got ejected? It was like a minute left in the game.
Yeah, it didn't matter. Like, we weren't gonna win anyway.
Just
Doesn't
stop.
make a difference.
Stop slapping. Stop. Like, these players just do dumb shit, and referees stop getting the second man all the time. You
And they
know there's a
always do
cause
that.
to the effect.
Right.
They always do that. They
Do your
always get
job.
The second one. Always.
And like Peachy said earlier in the show, it was 4-6 as far as penalties. We did have one on special teams as well. So I mean, you could take it how you want it. For me, when it comes to stuff, it's more what the refs miss. And I'd be like, come on, man, how you miss that
That's
call?
true.
But you call this, you call holding here, but you don't call holding here, but you call, and that's my issue with the officials. So they gotta just find a way to be more consistent. Was the penalties outrageous? Nah, they weren't even detrimental to the team because the Niners. The thing is, the Niners had every opportunity to take this game. That's why you said the Niners could have won this game. They had every opportunity to take control of this game. I thought they were trying some reverse psychology stuff, being down by what at the half. I think they were down by 11.
Yeah.
I think, hey man, usually we be up by 11.
Right.
So now we give them.
But then they fixed it, and then they was down by 2, and I'm like, oh shoot. Then he turns the ball over.
Yeah, that red zone, when he tried to force that ball to Chris Conley, and I know he got hit by Karlaftis, again, a pressure given up by Colton McKivitz. He's a bum and should not be on the field.
Mm-hmm.
But when he threw that pick, then I was like, oh, it's over now.
Oh my gosh.
It's over now. Because there was still like 11 minutes left in the game, and the Chiefs took 7 minutes off the clock with that drive.
It just,
and I was like,
crazy.
ugh.
Yeah, it was on purpose. Did you guys think that, what was your opinion about us not going for 2?
I thought it was stupid, because my thing is, if you go for 2 and you don't get it, you're still down 2 points. If you get a field goal, you're up 15-14. Right. You kick the field goal with a new kicker, and he misses it, and you're still down 2 either way.
Yeah.
So at least try to tie the game up. If you don't get it, you're in the same spot. If he makes the field goal, you're still down 1. I would have went for 2.
Yeah.
I didn't. It didn't matter to me. It didn't. It wasn't gonna make no difference. They couldn't fucking score in the red zone, so I don't think they would have got 2 points. I think that's why you kicked the extra point. It's an extra point. So that was my thing. But hey, they tried to go for 2 later. It just didn't work. Yeah. But the issue to this team.
And I don't even know where he was throwing that ball, but okay.
Right. The issue. Well, he wasn't trying to get it. He wasn't trying to turn it over. Like at that. Like,
I guess
it was somewhere.
It was like way too conservative on that one.
They got to figure out how to fix that. I know they went 1 for 3 in the red zone, 33%, but they got to find a way to score these touchdowns. Yeah. But and the crazy
definitely
thing,
helped the Chiefs increase their red zone percentage.
Yes, which was honestly, they were worse than us.
Yeah.
So
yes, they were
bad.
So the Chiefs were ranked worse than us in red zone, but not today. I said that. Never mind. It's just not today. It's not today. It didn't work out in our favor. The Niners took the L. They got to find a way to bounce back. And tomorrow on Nitty Gritty Niners Talk, we will talk about how the Niners can bounce back, and they got to get a win. Now it's a must win. I don't give a fuck what they be talking. Miss me with that must win. It's a must win. Now they must beat the Dallas Cowboys.
That's right.
9 p.m. Between 7 and 9. 7. We could do early.
I don't know.
Between 7 and 9, we'll go live. But I'll let you guys know. We'll be on tomorrow. We're gonna have some fun. And I'm over this. There's nothing really to talk about other than we'll give you the updates on Brandon Aiyuk and praying for his speedy recovery.
Yeah.
What a freak fucking injury.
Sucks.
Like, you got to be kidding me that this dude.
Every time we play against the damn Chiefs, we have something crazy like that
but
happens.
He's never been hurt.
Right.
And when I saw it, like, I knew he might not play the rest of the game, but the way it looked, I was like, oh, maybe it's a hyperextension.
Yeah.
When I heard at the end of the game that they feared it as an ACL, I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah. Yeah, because the graphics made it look like it was like a extension or something. But then when Kyle said that, they feared that it's torn.
Jeez.
Scott S., I don't know if you get a chance to watch my Keys to Victory shows, but this is what the offense is missing.
Yeah.
Too many explosive attempts. And every time we don't get an explosive play, then it's 2nd and long, then we try to run it. They know we got to get back to the dicing, the 1,000 deaths by 1,000 cuts.
Yeah.
They got to get back to that to establish some type of rhythm.
So we're about first downs.
It's
just accomplish those. Just accomplish just downs. Just down by down. Just go.
Yeah, missing the slants.
Just do whatever. Golly.
And you know what, y'all?
So
I think
bland.
When you know what? When y'all say the play calling is trash, this is why. Because what happened to these calls? What happened to the screens?
Yeah.
What happened to the reverses? What happened to the jet sweeps? What happened to that? You got Jacob Conley, right? And yeah, he's an explosive guy. He ran a jet sweep in preseason and they couldn't catch him. So just imagine how can he? How does he not do it in a game that counts? If he did it in a game that like how can you not trust that? Would you think he gonna run the wrong way? It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So and my issue with Kyle Shanahan is that motherfucker don't make sense.
No.
Yeah.
He just doesn't make sense to me. You got players that are capable of doing certain things. This year you drafted older players and speed.
Yep.
So that means you drafted players older just in case they needed to be mature enough to handle the workload of an NFL player.
Right. That's it. Exactly.
So Dominic Purdy the only one?
Right. That's right.
Great game from Malik Mustafa. Sorry you got trucked, bro. You'll be on TV for the rest of the week.
Yo,
Lord.
that's so crazy. It's like, all right, is Patrick Mahomes really a superhero?
Bro.
Because the way Malik Mustafa hit everybody else,
He backed up. He went backwards.
the way he hit
So bad.
he was a missile hitting everything. And
Yep.
then Patrick Mahomes comes through and boom.
Do you think it was because he's a quarterback and didn't he let off, held back a little bit, or did Patrick Mahomes just hit him with the shoulder boulder, bro? Because
That makes sense, but just watching him play, he don't seem like the type that will hold up.
as a quarterback, see what I'm saying?
Yeah, but he's a runner at that point.
Yeah, but-
he's not in the pocket anymore.
I agree. I just know when Niner players do shit, it always
Yeah,
gets-
he could have.
We do let up when
He
it comes
could.
to the
He could
quarterback.
have been thinking that. The last thing I want to do is
get a penalty.
Yeah.
and
do
then hurt
something
my
wrong.
team,
Yeah.
and then now they're gonna
Right.
walk. You know what I mean?
That makes sense.
I don't
could-
know.
I could see that.
Yeah, but if he is the type of player that I think he is, just from watching him,
Oh man, you got a Dre
That was
Greenlaw in the secondary. Yeah,
that was a teachable moment for him.
Yeah.
for sure.
And so now, any other quarterback, he ain't letting up.
Is in trouble.
He ain't letting up.
That won't happen
He's
again.
gonna
I can promise you
remember that. And like you said,
Yes.
because he's gonna be on TV the rest of the week,
Rest of the week, somebody
gonna
he's
be
gonna remember
everywhere.
that. And any other quarterback
remember.
that becomes a runner, oh, he taking their head off.
So Mose, can I ask you this question before we dip up out of here? Because you said it. That's why I'm asking. I'm addressing you. You said, "Oh yeah, we are a team that does that. Let up off the quarterbacks." There was a game where a defensive player that's no longer on this team had the opportunity to body suplex a quarterback from the Dallas Cowboys.
Eric
I'm not going to
Armstead on Dak Prescott. Yep.
Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for tuning in, man.
It is seared in my memory.
Bro, I don't understand to the death of me. Tobias ain't want to get no penalty and hurt our team. It was Eric Armstead. Like, he had him, and it was the softest hit. Now, the Malik Mustafa hit wasn't soft. I just felt like he didn't put all 215 pounds of force going into that hit. It was like, oh, shoot, that's the quarterback. Let me see if I can hit him. But Mahomes dipped the shoulder, though, bro, like that.
And what made it worse is he looked over him.
Oh,
after he did it.
yeah, that's
He looked over him
disrespectful.
after he did it.
That was so disrespectful.
As much as you hate Patrick Mahomes because he wins all the time, you got to give it to him.
That shit was cold.
He's a gamer. He loves the game of football. He plays the game the right way, and he's one of them dudes that like
If they run,
when he got something up on you, he gonna let you know.
bro, that was a cold.
He
cold
ran
stance.
him over, and with
He
the
did.
ball in his hand was like,
It was like, get off me.
little motherfucker.
You a little flea. Yeah, I'm the big dog.
What you doing?
I scratch you off my balls with my motherfucking paws. Let me stop. Y'all don't know nothing about Snoop. All right, guys. Love y'all, man.
Yeah.
We'll be back tomorrow, man. Thanks for tuning into the Overreaction Show. All right, man. We'll see you guys tomorrow. We out this joints. Peace.